Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, where we blend casual conversation with, insightful discussions on the latest in technology and gadgets. Today, we're diving deep into how AI is shaping the tech world. And trust me, it's going way beyond just software.
That's right. It's almost like AI has developed a taste for the physical world, changing everything from where companies build their headquarters to the very cables carrying all that data.
So we're talking about servers, data centers, the whole shebang.
Absolutely. You see, AI, particularly deep learning, has this insatiable appetite for data. The more data it consumes, the smarter it gets. Much like training a puppy, but on a much grander scale. And as AI gets more sophisticated, the demand for storage and processing power is just exploding.
So it's like AI is throwing a massive data party, and we need to make sure there's enough space and snacks for everyone.
That's a great way to put it. And companies are scrambling to build out the infrastructure to support this data feast. Take Ciena, for instance. They're focusing on building out fiber optic networks and those massive undersea cables. Think of them as the superhighways of the future, designed to shuttle data around the globe at lightning speed.
So Ciena's the construction crew building bigger and better roads for data to travel on. Makes sense.
Exactly. And here's where things get interesting. Ciena's biggest clients now aren't traditional telecom companies. It's the tech titans like Google and Microsoft, showing how AI is shifting the balance of power in the tech world.
It's almost like controlling the data flow is the new superpower. So who else is stepping up to the plate to manage this data explosion?
Well, companies are tackling the issue from different angles. Some are focusing on building more efficient data centers. Then you have companies like CoreWeave developing advanced AI chips to process information faster. And VST Data working on these super scalable operating systems to manage all that data across massive networks. It's like a three-pronged attack on the data challenge.
So it's not just about building more, it's about building smarter. Kind of like how we're not just stacking hard drives anymore. We're finding more efficient ways to store information.
You got it. And this brings us to a company that's going all in on AI, Apple.
Oh yeah, Apple's making a huge e-bet on AI. We're talking about a $500 billion investment in the US over the next few years. They're even building a massive factory in Texas dedicated to producing servers for their AI system, Apple Intelligence.
It's a serious statement of intent. Apple isn't just dipping your toes in the AI pool, they're diving headfirst. This investment allows them to control every aspect of their AI development, from the hardware to the software, potentially giving them a significant advantage in the future.
It's like they're building their own little AI empire right here in the US. But it sounds like not everyone is taking the same approach. What about Microsoft?
That's right. Microsoft is taking a different tack. They're being a bit more cautious about building new data centers, opting instead to rent existing ones for now. It's an interesting strategy.
So instead of building from scratch, they're moving into a fully furnished apartment, so to speak. Maybe testing the waters before diving into a full-blown construction project.
Exactly. It could be a way to gain immediate scalability for their AI projects while they assess the long-term landscape. They might also be factoring in potential delays in getting power to new facilities and focusing on optimizing their current infrastructure before expanding.
It's like they're saying, let's make sure our current house is in order before we start building a mansion. Smart move. But doesn't this cautious approach risk them falling behind companies like Apple, who are already investing heavily in their own infrastructure?
It's certainly a gamble. It raises the question, is renting data centers a temporary strategy or a sign of a broader shift in the way companies approach cloud infrastructure? Only time will tell. But it definitely highlights the different paths companies are taking to navigate this AI-driven data explosion.
It's like we're at a crossroads, with some companies charging full steam ahead and others taking a more measured approach. Makes you wonder who will come out on top in this AI arms race, right?
Absolutely. And it's not just a competition between companies. The government is also grappling with the implications of AI.
You remember that whole debacle with Elon Musk and his fictional Department of Government Efficiency? That didn't exactly go smoothly. Talk about a culture clash between the fast-paced world of tech and the, let's say, more deliberate pace of government.
That episode certainly highlighted the challenges of integrating AI into government systems. It's a reminder that implementing tech-driven solutions in this realm requires careful consideration of existing structures and a strategic approach to change management.
It's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole sometimes.
Yeah.
But on the other end of the spectrum, we have the open-source AI movement, which is gaining serious momentum. We see Meta releasing its Llama model and the rise of that Chinese chatbot DeepSeek. It feels like AI is becoming more accessible. But are there any downsides to this?
It's definitely a double-edged sword. Open source AI has the potential to democratize access to these incredibly powerful technologies and lead to a wave of innovation. Imagine a world where anyone can contribute to AI development, leading to solutions we haven't even thought of yet.
That sounds amazing. But I can't help but think there might be some risks involved, too. What's to stop someone from using this open source AI for, let's say, less than noble purposes?
It's a valid concern. Open access brings with it the need for robust ethical frameworks and potentially stricter regulations. We need to balance the potential benefits of open source AI with the need to safeguard against misuse and ensure responsible development.
It's a complex issue with no easy answers. But it's a conversation we definitely need to have as AI becomes more integrated into our lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The future of AI is being shaped right now, and it's up to all of us to ensure that it's a future we can all benefit from. It's funny how we talk about all this advanced technology, and yet something as basic as electricity keeps coming up. Like, are we going to have enough power for all these data centers running all this AI? It's kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, it is. It's like this reminder that for all its power, AI is still very much tethered to the real world and all its limitations. Like, we can't just magically create more energy.
Right. And that's why this whole debate about open versus closed AI gets even more interesting. Those who are really into open source AI say that if we spread out the development a bit, it might actually help with those resource problems.
So instead of just a few companies with these giant data centers sucking up tons of power, we could have a bunch of people using their own resources to, work on AI together.
Exactly. Like, imagine if universities and researchers and even, individual developers could all help train these AI models without needing those huge data centers. It's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah, it's like a global brain trust, everyone chipping in with their own computing power and, their own smarts.
I like that, a global brain trust. And, it could really make things more efficient. We could see faster innovation, maybe even come up with totally new ways to use AI.
Makes sense. But I guess the challenge then is how do you coordinate all that?
Yeah.
And how do you make sure the AI that's being developed is actually good and, safe and all that?
That's the tricky part, right? Coordinating a global project like that would be a huge undertaking. You'd need new ways to work together, new ways to check the quality of the AI, and security would be a big issue too. Making sure no one's messing with the data or the code.
Yeah, it's a cool idea, but definitely not a simple one to pull off. But hey, speaking of potential problems with AI, let's talk about something that's been on my mind. What about the risks of all this? What's stopping someone from taking this open source AI and using it for bad stuff?
You hit the nail on the head. That's the double-edged sword of powerful technology, right? The easier it is to get, the easier it is for the wrong people to get it too.
So how do we walk that line then? How do we make sure AI is used for good things and not, bad things?
That's the million-dollar question. And honestly, it's a question that's being debated like crazy right now. There are no easy answers.
I can imagine. It seems like it's not just a tech problem either, right?
Sure.
It's about ethics and how we use AI in society as a whole.
You got it. It's a multi-pronged challenge. So on the tech side, we're seeing people trying to make AI more transparent, so we can actually see how it makes decisions. And there's a lot of work being done to build safeguards right into the technology itself.
So it's not just this mysterious black box anymore. We can actually peek inside and understand what's going on.
That's the idea. If we can understand how AI works, we can trust it more. And we can make sure it's being used fairly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What about the ethics side of things, though? Like, what are we doing to make sure AI is actually used for good?
Well, things are changing really fast on that front. We're starting to see ethical guidelines for developing AI, both from companies and from governments. And there's a big push to think about ethics from the very beginning when we're designing these AI systems. Everything from the data we use to the algorithms we create to how we actually use the AI once it's built.
So it's not just an afterthought. It's like baking ethics into the very core of AI.
Exactly. It's a whole new way of thinking about AI, and it's catching on fast.
I'm glad to hear that. Because at the end of the day, the future of AI isn't set in stone, right? It depends on the choices we make today.
Couldn't agree more. The decisions we make now about how we develop AI, how we regulate it, how we use it, it's all going to have a huge impact on the world we live in tomorrow.
That's a pretty powerful thought. It means we're not just along for the ride with this technology. We actually have a say in where it goes.
And that's why it's so important to be informed, to talk about these issues, to make our voices heard.
Yeah.
Because the future of AI is basically tied to the future of humanity.
It's kind of wild to think about how much AI is already a part of our lives. Like it's almost become invisible.
Right. It really has. It's woven into the fabric of our digital world, so much so that we often don't even notice it.
Like all those personalized recommendations we get online, on shopping sites or streaming services. It's all AI behind the scenes, figuring out what we like.
Exactly. It's like having a personal shopper and a DJ and a travel agent all rolled into one, and it's only getting smarter.
It's amazing. But it also makes you wonder, what happens to human connection in a world where AI is making so many decisions for us? Are we going to end up just talking to machines all the time?
That's a question a lot of people are asking, and it's a valid concern. We don't want to lose that human touch. But I think the key is to make sure AI is used to enhance human connection, not replace it.
So it's not about AI versus humans. It's about finding ways for AI and humans to work together.
Exactly. It's about using AI to create opportunities for more meaningful interactions. Like imagine AI helping us connect with people from all over the world, breaking down language barriers so we can understand each other better.
That would be amazing, to be able to communicate with anyone, no matter where they're from or what language they speak.
It's definitely within the realm of possibility. And think about how AI could help us find people who share our interests. Connect us with like-minded individuals and build stronger communities.
That's a future I can get excited about,
Mhm.
using AI to build bridges instead of walls.
Exactly. It's about harnessing the power of AI to create a more inclusive and understanding world. And I think that's a goal worth striving for.
I couldn't agree more. Well, this has been an incredible deep dive into the world of AI. I feel like my brain is bursting with new ideas.
I've enjoyed it too. It's always fascinating to explore the potential of AI and think about the possibilities for the future.
And speaking of the future, who knows what amazing things AI will bring next? One thing's for sure, though. It's going to be a wild ride. So buckle up, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to Bite-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.